Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It was great spending time with you last night. Really enjoying my time out here in LA with you, and really looking forward to, over the next couple of days, getting to know all of you a little bit better and learn a little bit more about how your sections are running and how you're growing the game, how you're serving the members. And I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me to be here with you. I want to thank Jeff Johnson, the Southern California PGA, for hosting, all the leaders of the Southern California PGA for being here and hosting this important event. Really appreciate all of you taking the time, and the seriousness that you treat these meetings is very evident. I know many of you very well. I met some of you for the very first time in Orlando at the PGA Merchandise Show. And I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you over the last couple of months over the phones. And like I said earlier, getting to know how your sections are working. And there's certainly a lot of diversity across the country in how your sections are working on behalf of your members. And I can assure you that after we conduct business here this week, I will continue to reach out to you and identify ways that I can work with you so that your sections may thrive and better serve your members and better grow the game of golf. I have to be honest, I was a little nervous coming out here, maybe not for the reasons you might think, but I grew up in New England, and we had our share of the experiences with the wrath of Mother Nature, brutal cold winters, blizzards, and then when I moved down south, we had extreme heat, humidity, the occasional hurricanes, but I've never had to experience an earthquake before. So I have to be honest, I've been watching closely the last couple of days here to see what adventures we might have out here. And I'm really pleased that Tom Addis is out here. He's obviously a man of many talents and keeping everything in line for us. Thanks for that, Tom. And Bill, was it drop, cover, and hold on for dear life? What was that? Okay, got that. Thank you for that. But really, in all seriousness, I really have been watching the weather events out in this part of the country, and it's been quite remarkable. Droughts in Northern California, forest fires, heavy rains, mudslides, and of course these earthquakes. We really are in the midst of some extreme weather out here, but all across the country. And my best wishes to the people in your communities that are battling through this, and especially the PGA golf professionals and their facilities that have been negatively impacted by this severe weather. You know, one positive thing about experiences like this, though, is that we all come together and we all help each other out. We lend a helping hand, and certainly no association more than the PGA is better at doing that. And I think golf has taught us that. Golf has taught us to lend that helping hand and to never leave a man or a woman behind. And I'm proud of that. And those traits are in full force here in the western part of the country, as are your strong passion for the game and the traditions that you have in the golf. You know, I did a little research on this part of the country, and I found that you actually had a representative in the initial meeting, the 1916 meeting in New York City at the Martinique Hotel. His name was Frank Noble from Montana. You may have heard of his name, but he was one of the founding charter members of the PGA of America, and he represented you. And at that time, it was the Pacific sections. You also have some of the oldest golf courses in the country. Golf clubs like Victoria Park in California, Gearhart Golf Links, and the Overland Golf Course in Denver. Great traditions there. And obviously, you have some of the very best golf courses in the world, like Pebble Beach, Cherry Hills, Portland Golf Club, which hosted the 1946 PGA Championship, 1947 Ryder Cup, Sahalee, and the Dallas Athletic Club. You know, the main objectives when our association was founded back in 1916 are the same as they are today: teaching, playing, growing the game, and protecting the interests of our PGA members. And nearly 100 years later, your sections are regarded really as the leaders and looked up to across the country by the other sections for the great things that you do on behalf of your members and growing the game. And I congratulate you for that. A little bit about me. You may not know this, but I'm actually from Maine. I was born and raised in Maine. I grew up in southern Maine. And I started playing golf at the age of 10 with my dad. You know, at that time, it wasn't golf that drove me to the golf course. It was being with my dad. He worked hard, and that Saturday morning was really the only time that I got to spend with him. So I really look back fondly of those times. But it didn't take long for me to realize that I really loved the game. I loved the sights, the sounds, and the smells that came along with it. And as you know, we had short seasons up in Maine, but every summer I'd return and I'd plot my mastery of the game under the watchful eye of my dad and also PGA mentors. And my love for golf and the business of golf grew stronger every year. I worked for those gentlemen during those summers, and the mentoring aspect of that meant so very, very much to me. And golf really reinforced those strong values, just like all of you here. It reinforced the values that my parents and my grandparents instilled in me, like honesty, integrity, hard work, perseverance, patience. I realized that there were no shortcuts in golf, just like life. There are no shortcuts in life. And that you really had to work hard, and you could accomplish anything that you wanted to. And that was instilled in me. You could accomplish anything you wanted to do as long as you worked hard at it, you had a passion, and you followed through on your goals. I enjoyed a lot of sports growing up. I wrestled in high school. I played basketball. I ran track. I actually was a member of the state championship 4x400 meter relay team in college. But golf was always my game. I always knew that I would be involved with that sport. As a matter of fact, after my junior year abroad in Edinburgh, Scotland, I returned home. I registered for the PGA apprentice program, signed up for the PAT, passed it, and I was on my way. My first big break in the golf business was getting a job at Sable Oaks Golf Club in southern Maine. It was a Marriott facility, and along with that came an opportunity to work in Orlando for the winter months. And it was there that I met my wife, Tracy, at the Marriott World Center. We've been married now for 20 years, and we have 4 beautiful kids. At the World Center, I also met Tony Austin. Tony's been a great mentor to me, a great friend. Tony, as you probably know, was district director for District 13. We served on the board together, and I'm proud to say that Tony's here with me. And Tony, I thank you for supporting me, and your presence here means a lot to me. Tony's tutelage and his mentoring really helped prepare me, and I advanced through my career pretty rapidly. I actually became the head golf professional at Ipswich Country Club in Ipswich, Massachusetts at the age of 25. Well, Tracy, being a Florida girl, you might expect she didn't fare very well with the New England winters. So I'm sad to say we didn't stay at Ipswich too long. We returned back to Jacksonville, where she grew up, and I actually started playing a little bit. Played some mini tours in Central Florida, the Tommy Armour Tour, and it didn't take long for me to realize, too, that I wasn't going to make a living at playing golf. But I had my Class A membership, and I was very fortunate to get a job at Sawgrass Country Club in Ponte Vedra Beach. And it was there that I taught an awful lot. I learned to become a very good teacher. And I also worked very hard to work my way up the ranks. And I eventually became head golf professional there in 1997. I became the director of golf at Deerwood Country Club in 2000, another fine private club with a strong tradition in Jacksonville, actually the host of the Greater Jacksonville Open back in the 70s, the precursor of today's Players' Championship. And in 2003, I had a great opportunity. Tracy and I purchased Hidden Hills Country Club, and we've been there ever since. And I'm very proud to say that we took a club that was financially struggling, and we turned it in to the private, family, thriving club that it is today. And I really am very proud of that. I've been involved with governance now for 17 years, continuously. I started it in the chapters on the tournament committee. I worked my way up through the chapter chairs. I got heavily involved in our section, and again, worked through those chairs. I got involved on national committees, and I caught the eye of Brian Whitcomb, who, as president, appointed me the Southeast representative, the PGA Board of Control. And I have to be honest, that was the most gratifying experience of my career. And I'm really grateful to President Whitcomb for that opportunity and what he saw in me to give me that opportunity. You know, I served with some of the very best PGA golf professionals in the country. A couple people you're familiar with, like Kyle Hyan, Paul Levy here with us. And I also served up close and personally with each of our current officers. Alan Ranowski, Ted, Derek, and Paul. During that time, the 4-year term, I reviewed and ruled on over 1,400 cases on behalf of our PGA members and apprentices. And some of those cases were 100 pages of documentations. We had to work hard. There was a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of phone calls, a lot of outreach to sections to identify the best course of action. And none of us on that Board of Control took it lightly. I always strive to be the most prepared in the room. And I can assure you, too, that the gravity of these situations in these cases weighed heavily on us. In many cases, those PGA members' cards, their lives, their families, were hanging in the balance. And while we didn't always agree, we always kept the best interests of our association, our Constitution and bylaws, and in most every case, we tried our very, very best to accommodate the needs of our PGA members. The Board of Control experience really afforded me an opportunity to refine and demonstrate my leadership skills. And I've got to say, it really provided me an opportunity to have an inside view of our association, membership, apprentices, employment. Everything that goes hand in hand with how our association works. I was able to identify how it works also on behalf of our members. And in some cases, there were some shortcomings. You know, this job had a lasting and profound impact on me and really was the determining factor in my decision to run for this position as secretary. My years of service have provided me some clarity on our association and where I think we need to go. But the one thing I want to say is, and I feel strongly about this, the game of golf is just as strong, it's just as beautiful as it's always been. And we got into this business because we love it. We love this game, and it led us to our careers. As you know, I don't have to tell you this, the business of golf is in decline and has been for quite some time. We've lost 5 million golfers in the last 10 years. Rounds of golf, revenues are down. Golf course closings, outpacing openings. As your secretary, I work really hard to implement what I've always been good at, a forward-thinking program. Forward-thinking, but it's tempered by a business-minded approach. And focusing on 4 key elements: growth, opportunity, leadership, and our future. One thing that was instilled in me when I was a young man is, in order for me to be successful, in order for me to reach my full potential, I had to work hard. I had to challenge myself every single day. And in order for our PGA golf professionals to uphold the moniker of being the experts in the game, in the business of golf, we need to challenge them. We need to inspire them to seek the skills, the training. We need to teach them to drive revenue and to be the most valuable member of their facility. We need to teach them to become revenue producers, inspire them to learn how to grow their business. And when they do that, they really control their own destiny. They not only develop our sport and the future of our sport, but they take care of business at home. They provide value to their employers. They solidify their job security. And you know what? At the end of the day, they become responsible for their own career advancement, and their own compensation. I don't think I have to tell you also that growing the game, is focus number one for us. We really are at a crossroads in this industry. And we've been talking about this. I remember Mr. Riley talking about this 10 years ago, that we had to focus on the growth in the business of golf. And we talked a little bit about some of the declines that we've seen here. 13.6% golf rounds. 55 million decline since 2000. Number of golfers down from 30 million to 25 million. We've got some work to do. And yet, while industry experts, the golf pundits, even some within our own ranks say we'll never regain those glory years, I respectfully disagree. I strongly disagree. I believe wholeheartedly that we can once again enjoy a vibrant golf economy and grow the game. But I also feel strongly it's not going to come from just the people in this room. It's not going to come just from our officers. It's not going to come just from the talented staff down in Palm Beach Gardens. It's not going to come from another program delivered to us from National. The seeds of growth need to be planted locally. And they need to be nurtured by talented, passionate, rank-and-file PGA golf professionals, 28,000 strong. And we need to make sure that they've been given the tools, the resources to do this, to cultivate and grow our game. And you know what? We're starting to see successes. Get Golf Ready. 85,000 people participated in Get Golf Ready last year. On average, each of those students delivering almost $1,200 in incremental revenue to the facilities that they took that lesson in. 60% of Get Golf Ready students were women, and 60% of them said they would refer a friend to the program. A great success story, and it's growing. PGA Junior League. As Paul indicated yesterday, 740 teams last year, 9,000 kids participated. This year we're anticipating 15,000. I think, Paul, you're right. It's probably going to be closer to 20,000 kids enjoying PGA Junior Golf League. If you haven't gotten involved with it, if you haven't preached to your members to get involved with it, I just can't think of a better way to get kids involved in this game quickly. And the team concept has really been embraced by these kids. They love it. Drive, chip, and putt. Going to be in all 41 sections this year. 88 young men and women are going to be at Augusta National this Sunday competing in the finals. And just think about it. I mean, this may be the peak of their golfing careers this Sunday. What an exciting time for them, and I can't wait to watch it. So we've had these successes, but we can't stop there. And as President Bishop has talked to us about, we really need to look at alternative, non-traditional golf opportunities. And really, we need to direct those to the people that say golf is too hard, it's uninviting, it takes too long, or it's just plain boring. You know, 57% of golfers between 18 and 34 have a negative perception of the game. Those are our millennials, and we need to work hard to get them introduced to this game. So we need to look at alternative activities. 9 is Fine is a really simple one. We're having great success with it at my club. We need to make sure that we stress the fact that recreational and social golf is fine. You don't need to go out and play necessarily by strict USGA rules. Matter of fact, I'm sure that all of you can tell me of a group at your club that has a breakfast ball on the first hole and gives putts inside 3 feet. It happens every day. Other opportunities, like game golf, foot golf. Mike Woods up at Hagen Oaks, 5,000 rounds last year he did in foot golf. 5,000 rounds, and he delivered $100,000 in revenues to his facility. Is it a good fit for everybody? Maybe not. But I'm sure that his owners are pretty happy with the extra revenue that they saw come in. And hopefully we can connect these players with golf. Top Golf got its genesis in Texas, and we're starting to see some strides there as well. Those three programs are a great opportunity for us to target those millennials, those 18 to 34-year-old age potential golfers. You know, other simple things. We need to preach that it's okay to play 3 holes, 6 holes, 9 holes, 12 holes, and that if you hit balls every once in a while on the driving range, you're still a golfer. And finally, we really need to get clubs in the hands of kids earlier. I had the opportunity to attend the Youth and Family Summit in Orlando prior to the merchandise show, and it really, really was an eye-opening experience for me. And I've been able to employ some of those tactics and programs at my own facility, and I've seen instant success. We need to work at getting golf into schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. And again, we need to get golf clubs in the hands of kids at a younger age. And you know what? We're having success stories all around the country, and here locally, Colorado, Southern California, Northern Texas, to name a few, are having great success. Their PGA professionals are latched on to school golf. They're making great strides, and they're really providing some great framework and modeling for the rest of our section to have success as well. Opportunities, you know, just as important it is to grow the game, we need to grow our PGA professionals. We need to help expand their horizons, enhance their skills and training, and really teach them how to drive revenue to their facilities. Because in doing this, they're going to provide more value to their employers. And as your next secretary, it'll be my mission to nurture the relationship with our sections, our executive directors, to make sure we're doing everything we can to empower our members and allow them to reach their full potential. We need to offer meaningful, career-specific, affordable education opportunities. We need to provide them in traditional means. I'm all for it. But we need to provide it online. We have the technology, the capabilities to do so, and we need to start doing it. We need to start delivering education opportunities online. And we need to allow those opportunities to our PGA members that have specific interests so they can get on there and learn and grow and further their careers. I think it's really important that we share best practices. A good-looking guy there. We're doing a better job here. We're doing a better job, but it's so very important that we celebrate our best and brightest. And when we do that, others are watching. They're watching, they're learning, and in turn, they're going to be able to grow as well. I believe strongly that we need to look closely at career enhancement programs, employment opportunities for our members. I think we need to have a really close look at career links and how it's serving our members. I'm a big fan of membership orientations. Many of you do it at your clubs, and many of you would probably be great role models for other sections to learn and employ. I feel strongly that we need to reinstitute the President's Council. You know, we had that not so long ago. We recognized people that were passionate about growing the game. We celebrated them, we recognized them. We need to do more of that. Growing the game's item number one. And truly, by celebrating our best and brightest, we're really going to directly, positively impact our members. You know, and ultimately we're going to enhance their success in their careers, their marketability, and with their employment. You know, the sign of a good leader, one of the traits is the ability to listen. And you heard me say this last night. We need to do a better job of listening to the voices of our members. I pride myself on my ability to listen. Those whom I've served with can tell you firsthand that I'm an excellent listener. And if you don't believe them, you can ask my wife. She'll tell you. I, as your next PGA secretary, will ask our members what they need to be better in their careers and to be happier in their lives. If we hear their voice and we truly listen to their voice, we as leaders are going to be better able to map out our strategic plans and have greater success. It's plain and simple. And when we do that, when we do listen to their voices, and they know that their voices are being heard, we are creating a unified front. We're going to create buy-in. And they're going to be more involved with the PGA. They're going to be more involved with growing the game. And they're going to wave our banner high and proud. As I said earlier, we need to utilize cutting-edge technology to deliver information, to communicate, but maybe even more importantly, to solicit feedback. We need to get that feedback. The last time we delivered a full-fledged survey, a membership survey to our members was 2009. We need to do better there. We need to be asking every year what our members need to be better at what they do. PGA Links has a new face this morning. What a great tool for us. 97% of our members and apprentices get on PGA Links. They use it every day. What a great tool, a great conduit for communication. And again, two-way communication. We solicit feedback on PGA Links. I feel strongly, though, too, about face-to-face communication, face-to-face interaction. Whenever we meet and gather, we learn. And I always leave these meetings inspired, and I've learned a lot. I'm a big advocate of section meetings, town hall meetings, open forums, and I'll commit to you as your next PGA secretary, vice president, and president that I will attend each and every one of your sections during my term as an officer, at least once. A few weeks ago, I invited Steve Mona. He's the CEO of the World Golf Foundation. I invited him to speak to our PGA professionals in North Florida. And Steve gave a stirring analysis of the state of our industry. And he talked about some of the very same things that we've been talking about, the challenges, the obstacles, the hurdles. And he also talked a lot about opportunities for us as an association and for the game and the growth of the game. And he said a couple of things that really hit home with me. The first thing he said is we are all in this together, all of us, in this nearly $70 billion industry. Our allied associations, our owners, operators, facilities, manufacturers, we're all in this together. And he also identified that for us to continue to dig out of this and grow, the PGA of America and our PGA professionals are going to take the lead. We must work together to build our future. And as your secretary, I will work with you and on your behalf to lead this charge to a better future, growth, and really will identify better what our members need, what our owners want, and really what our industry demands. And in doing so, we're going to really better meet the needs of the marketplace. As your next secretary, I work hard to cultivate partnerships, existing partnerships, but really what we can do, we have the strongest brand in golf, and we can forge new relationships and new partnerships, and I intend to do that. You know, we have some wonderful milestones, wonderful opportunities coming down the pike, particularly in 2016. In 2016, as you know, we'll be celebrating our 100 years, our centennial. What a great opportunity for us as an association and for our game. In that very same year, we'll have the PGA Championship at Baltusrol, and as you know, after a 112-year absence, golf will be once again in the Olympics in Brazil. And then we'll wrap up that year with an opportunity again, the Ryder Cup being on home soil at Hazeltine. If there ever was a time for us to really identify and preach who we are and celebrate who we are as an association and to grow the game, it's going to be in 2016. And we need to start working now to plan for that. We need to be out in front. And as your leader, I will be out in front on that mission to identify those opportunities that we can really take advantage of this. This is going to be a special time for us. You know, in closing, very fortunate to have had a very successful career. I have a very diverse background, and I think that serves me well. I think I can relate very well to the PGA members across the country, the broad spectrum of PGA golf professionals. I can identify with what they're going through on a daily basis, the challenge, the struggles. Additionally, I've sat on my section board for nearly a decade. For all of you that are section leaders or have been section leaders in this room, I know what you're going through. I've sat in your chairs. I've identified the struggles that you faced on a day-to-day basis. I think it's important that your next secretary has had that experience. Finally, and I mentioned this earlier, I've served up close and personally with each of our current officers. I know how they think. I know how they lead. I know how they work. I've worked with them. We've had success together, and I've earned their respect as a leader. And I'm really prepared. Secretary Libby spoke yesterday about our long-term strategic plan. I think continuity is very, very important, and I think I blend in well with our current officers. And there are some really good things going on. There's a lot of good feeling, dating right back to when we left San Diego. And I will build on the foundations that they have laid before us, and I'll continue to perpetuate the growth in our association, in the game. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves. I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to use my proven leadership ability, my business skills, my forward-thinking ability to really make a difference and take this association to new heights. I'm ready, willing, and I am able to be your next PGA secretary. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, and I look forward to the opportunity to earning your trust and your vote in November. Thank you. I guess now we can take some questions. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Should you have a question, please raise your hand and wait for the mic, and then identify yourself with your name and your section. Any questions?
Russ, Marcus King in the Pacific Northwest section. You are uniquely positioned as an owner of a facility, and over the past few years, we have reached out more and more to our owners to ask them, what do you want from the PGA professional? How does that perspective as an owner really contribute to what you're doing with your campaign?
Thanks, Marcus. It's a great question, and I feel strongly that my background, first things first, I want to be clear on this. I'm a PGA professional, and I've been a traditional PGA professional for a long, long time. But I do have a different perspective on it as an owner. And I've sat down in rooms with the Club Managers Association, with the NGCOA. I've represented the PGA in their meetings. And I think it's really important that we sit down and we open dialogue with them. It's extremely important that we identify what their perception is of PGA golf professionals, what we're doing right, and what we're doing wrong. And I think for us to continue to advance and allow our PGA professionals to advance in their careers, we better make sure we understand what they're looking for. And that'll be one of my missions, Marcus. As soon as I am elected, God willing, that'll be one of my missions to do, to really formulate those relationships and strengthen those relationships with our allied associations. Thank you.
Russ, good morning. Nice presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Tim Lawler, honorary president from the Colorado section, and you pointed out your successes there with Hidden Hills, financially turning that property around. What's your opinion of PGA properties then? What would you do there?
I knew that question was coming, Tim. I appreciate it. Well, as I said to Marcus, I have a unique perspective there. I'm concerned about PGA. Port St. Lucie. I'm assuming you're talking about Port St. Lucie. We are close to 100 million all in that facility since 1996, and that really makes me shudder. I know that I wouldn't be in business right now if I was hemorrhaging losses like that. But I believe there's some positive things, and I'm hearing more and more good things about what's going on down there under the leadership of Jimmy Terry and Dick Gray. As a matter of fact, I got in the car and I drove down. About a month ago, I wanted to find out for myself, and I just drove down there. It's about a 3-hour drive for me. And I went down unannounced, and I will share with you that I was very pleased with service. I played the Ryder course. Parking lot was full. The golf course was full. There are a lot of good things that I saw down there. The conditioning of the golf course was much improved from the last time I was there. So I'm encouraged that we're starting to see some successes. But this has been a long, painful process, and it's going to take us a while to rewrite this ship. But I do feel this. I feel we should give our current leaders, I'm really pleased that President Bishop has formulated this task force to take a close look at properties. But we can't just keep kicking this can down the road. And I'm concerned that that's what's been going on. And we need to have a very specific, long-term strategic plan there. And I know they're working on getting that in place right now. I know Paul said we've got 4 different models that we're looking at. We have got to have a plan. Is it going to be a profit center? Is it going to be a member benefit? Should we make money? Should we break even? All those things need to be identified. But this is really, I think I separate myself a little bit from the other candidates. And it ties in with the fact that I don't want to keep kicking this can down the road. We need to set in place some very specific benchmarks over the next 5 years. And if we're not fulfilling those, we need to seriously look at restructuring Port St. Lucie and making some very, very specific changes down there. And I'm not afraid to make those changes. Thanks, Tim.
Russ, good morning. Leslie from the Colorado section. You mentioned giving the members tools to succeed. What kind of tools do you think are going to help us succeed?
Well, Leslie, thanks. The 2 things that are near and dear to me are education and mentoring. And I think back to my career, those are 2 areas that really had a lasting impact on me. So that's a big part of it, is making sure that we provide, as I said earlier, affordable, career-specific education. Right now I don't believe we're really focusing as much on career-specific as we should be. We need to have our PGA professionals want to come to these education opportunities because they feel like they're going to grow. They're going to take away something that's going to help them in their careers. We need to focus on affordability. And really what I feel most strongly about, Leslie, is that this needs to be something that we can venture into online. Something that you can do at midnight at your house. Get online and learn something. It's affordable. So I feel strongly about that. But the greater scope of what I'm focused on is outreach. And I think that one thing I learned on the PGA Board of Control, and I saw this in these 1,400 cases I reviewed, you could see it over and over again. There was a disconnect. Many of our PGA members, many of our apprentices, just didn't feel connected to our association. Now, sure, there was some apathy. There was some laziness. We would see that as well. But I think that this outreach is very, very important for us. And it has to start on the section level, but I think that it can be installed with assistance from headquarters, to help us, give us the tools to reach out so that we can identify what they need for their jobs specifically, for growth. We need to recruit leaders. We need to inspire. So that's a big part of my message, is getting out there and providing these tools. But it really starts in a very simplistic version of just outreach, just talking to them. And I've had this success. As soon as I got off the Board of Control, I went back to my chapter and I asked to get involved. I asked to get involved with education and mentoring because I saw some flaws in the system. And I got back, I didn't realize this, but they're going to give me the chair of these two committees, but I relish that. I enjoy that. But what we've done is we've reached out, we've pulled these kids in, and I say kids, I sound like I'm getting older, but we pulled them in and we've sat down and we've talked to them. We've done surveys. Those that didn't answer the surveys, we called them up, and we did the survey over the phone. And it was just in a very aggressive outreach that we had. And we had 90% success rate. And we've been able to do some very, very good things with mentoring and with education. Our events in North Florida are becoming events now. People want to come to them. So I think that's the start. Thanks, Leslie. Any other questions? Tom?
Yeah, hi. Morning, Tom Addis from the Southern California section. We talk about equipping our golf professionals, PGA golf professionals, and you've mentioned a couple times delivering within and from the sections. We have the added ADP funds, but what other means would you equip the sections to carry the message forward, to help us to deliver programs that would be beneficial for the growth of our golf professional in the game?
Well, we all left San Diego, Tom, with smiles on our faces because we knew we had some added resources. And we've been talking, the sections have been talking a long time about getting more support. And I'm really encouraged by the fact that every time now that we look at a partnership, we're talking about those funds filtering down to the sections. But it's not all about just funding. The great thing is that sections can decide whatever they want to do with that funding, they can apply it there, whether it's a player development person, whether it's another employment consultant, whether it's somebody to focus on education and mentoring. The sections, there's nobody that knows the sections better than the sections, the EDs, the section leaders. So I'm really excited about that. But as far as tools, we have tremendous resources at headquarters. We have a lot of talented people there that can come to the sections and help train, help work on business planning, help work on inspiring and motivating. So we have a lot of resources that are not financial, not monetary. We have people. We have that human element. And I think that's important that every section leader knows. I had a lot of questions last night about that, about we can't do this, these rules and these guidelines prohibit us from doing that. Well, we need to speak up. We need to talk to. We have to have a good line of communication to the national office and make sure that that dialogue is back and forth. Because I believe strongly, Tom, it's got to come locally. It's not going to come from national, but national is there to assist us and provide us these resources.
It looks like we're about out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, how about another round of applause for Russ Libby?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.